So I was browsing LinkedIn the other day and I came upon this post that made me do a double take. It was Jensen Huang and one of my favorite content creators and this random dude. I didn't know who this random dude was, but after I read the LinkedIn post, I realized that this random dude just inserted himself into the image for an AI safety project. I can't believe I have to explain this. Don't do this. A student using Nano Banana to insert himself into a photo with no indication it is edited, and he is clearly trying to mislead the viewer. Then immediately suggests he wants an internship offer. AI is a very powerful tool, and we are now at the point where AI edited photos are almost indiscernible from reality. Using this technology irresponsibly is one of the quickest ways to ruin your credibility. Edit, the lesson isn't don't use AI, the lesson is use it responsibly. Like with every other piece of technology, it is a tool. Tools can be used for good or bad, but are inherently neutral. Nano Banana is an amazing feat. I use it often. Use tools for good. Okay, gotcha. Now, you may be saying to yourself, hey, this doesn't really matter all too much. Who cares that this kid inserted himself into the photo? It seems like it really doesn't matter all that much. No harm was done. But definitely harm was done here. And I'm going to explain to you why. We don't really think about problems until they become our own problem, right? And I want to talk about this because I think that a lot of the problems that AI poses are kind of out of sight, out of mind problems, right? Like, I think about things like identity theft. I think of things like stalking, problems that you probably couldn't even get close to understanding until you are being directly affected by that horrible thing, right? So, like, you could say to yourself, it doesn't really matter that this person made a picture of themselves with like somebody famous. It was for a project, whatever. But you can also say it's like, hey, this should be illegal, right? This is wrong. How could you do this? This is the worst thing ever. Really think that the conversation that we should be having has to kind of like lie in the middle of this, right? Carter was right in his original post. AI is a tool. The issue is it is such a powerful tool. It is so strong that you don't even understand how much havoc could be wreaked upon you until it's like being used on you, right? So I want to ask you this, right? Have you ever been spam called? I think the next version of spam calling might be people blackmailing you with images of yourself doing things that you've never done. And this is really scary to me. And it kind of like makes me ask the question, how are we protecting ourselves from this sort of, AI tools being used for evil, right? We're really not. A lot of companies like still kind of allow this, and a lot of companies don't really care all too much when it comes to inserting yourself into other images or inserting you doing like dangerous things. I mean, let's try it, right? I just want to try proving a point over here, and we're going to see how long this takes to actually generate, right? So this is me trying to make a point that it is a lot easier than you would think it would be to probably ruin somebody's life, right? Okay, so this photo doesn't really look like me all that much, and sure, I'm looking a little bit skinnier, and the Leaning Tower of Pisa looks a little funny, but hey, if I wasn't allowed to leave the country, let's say for work or for something like that, and somebody sent a picture that was literally just cropped with that Gemini thing in the bottom right corner not being there, I'm certain that my employer would be very upset and pretty much fire me, right? And like it literally took me 30 seconds to do that. It took me 30 seconds to come up, take a picture. This is a public picture that I have on the internet. Ask Nano Banana to generate an image, right? And this image, if they cropped out the bottom thing on the right over here, could be technically used to fire me, get me to lose my job, get me to experience a lot of pain and suffering. And so when I look at like posts like this, right, and people say like, "Oh, it's not that crazy," you shouldn't take it that seriously. Where did it go? I don't think witch hunting him is the right answer, right? But I think this is a very wrong thing to do. It should be really shunned and should be really shamed because even though yes, this is a project for AI safety policy, it didn't really talk about that or highlight that in the slightest, right? I'm gonna go to the original post and where is the learning? I could make some horrible claim or say something terrible and say that was a social experiment. I only did it because I'm trying to gather data on. And it's like, no, bro, you are trying to engagement bait and engagement farm. At least just be honest about that. Like I said, I don't think this kid should go to jail or like there's anything inherently horrible about what's happening, but it's just a sign of like what you should be expecting in the future, right? If you are a YouTuber, a content creator, somebody who has their face on the internet for a while, expect companies to essentially use your face for deep fakes, use your face for, really bad and horrible things, because I don't think there's anything stopping an average person from exacting that and doing that, right? It's like, hey, if I'm able to make a picture of myself at the Leaning Tower of Pisa enjoying, something like that, when let's say that I have some sort of thing at work that doesn't allow me to leave the country, then I'm like basically screwed. My entire livelihood is screwed over. Blackmail and being threatened online digitally is going to change with AI. And this isn't like something that hasn't been going on. I think there was a case recently where scammers use fake voice to get families to send money.
When Frank Boren's phone rang,
Hello?
his wife Alice picked up and immediately recognized her great-grandson's voice.
He said, Mama, I'm in a lot of pain, but I only have a few minutes to talk.
The person on the other end of the call, pretending to be the couple's great-grandson Cameron, said he was involved in a car wreck and they were taking him to jail. The Borens spoke to my colleague Lauren Hartson about their ordeal last year. They also got a call from the so-called attorney who shared the same story, and they needed to pay bail of more than $11,000.
Oh, God. Okay, so I'm going to pause it right there. Like, listen, doing this sort of thing while you think it's harmless is the same thing as doing this sort of scam thing, right? It's perpetuating the use of tools to essentially give you gain and not pay back society or provide value any sort of way, right? You could use what he did in the same exact way. And that's why we have to be careful. And that's why you kind of have to shun and say something about these things, right? If you want to actually like create a project about AI responsibility and have people talk about it, maybe you need to write a report that actually details this. Maybe you need to talk to some professors and see how you can create something that actually, researches and finds information proving your claims. I would love to see this kid's report if he has one. And if not, then I guess he got what he wanted. At the end of the day, the best way to succeed is to actually provide value and actually talk to people and actually, be a part of the conversation. Not so much engagement bait to get the numbers up. And it's tough because honestly, platforms do reward kind of the engagement baiting a lot. You can look at X, you can look at Threads, you can look at any platform where there's some sort of drama involved. You'll see hundreds of AI posts, people making up things, saying terrible claims, and those are the videos and things that blow up, right? I think Hank Green made a video about this recently detailing just that. And I think you just have to be careful because this is the future. And please don't do this. Instead, be somebody who people respect through providing information, through providing knowledge, and through helping, right? This isn't helping by creating this AI image or showing yourself with the famous or rich people, right? If you want to contribute to this problem, if you want to actually get an internship, hey, why don't you get the skills and get the things that you need to actually get into that role? And that's much harder said than done, but it's going to be much more worth it at the end. And that's the video. Thanks.